Welcome to our 24th episode of the Who, What, When, Where, and Why podcast. My name is Kathleen Johnson, and I'm your host and YMCA Marketing Director. My guests today are Estela, Tess, and Jeff, and they're going to talk to us about our connection with the Hispanic and the Latino cultures around and communities around Tuscarawas County. So thank you, everyone, for coming today. I appreciate you being here. Is this your first podcast for all of you?
Yeah, it's mine.
It's definitely yours?
Yes, for sure.
They are super excited about being here and are probably just going to talk my ear off all the way through as far as this is concerned. But these are three amazing people, along with lots of other people in the community that have been helping the YMCA connect to our Hispanic and Latino cultures or communities around here, including I want to give a good shout out to Dr. Nathan Springer, who also helps us translate some flyers and that types of things for our community and help us grow closer to that community on a daily basis. So for everyone who helps us at the YMCA, we want to thank, but we definitely want to spotlight some things that are going on in our community right now. So the purpose, again, is to put some faces with some names of the people who have been helping us the most and find out really what fuels your passion to work with the community and the culture and to really connect them together. So you guys ready to have this conversation?
Let's do it.
So I'm going to start with Jeff.
Sweet.
Because it'll be the easiest, right? Easiest conversation now. We'll make him go first since he's the only guy at the table. So Jeff, tell us just a little bit about you, who you are, where you work, all that kind of great stuff.
Yeah, so my name's Jeff Bray. I currently work at Provia as an employee ambassador. But kind of my journey with the community, specifically the Guatemalan community, started around 10 years ago. I was born and raised in Columbus. New Philly Dover is the last area I thought I'd ever live in. But I had family who lived here, and I had traveled around for a while after college. And my uncle, who worked at the ESC at the time, said, "Hey, New Philly High School is looking for someone who can speak Spanish to work with the students there." And my first reaction was, wait a minute, you guys have a large Spanish-speaking population. He's like, yeah, believe it or not. So that was kind of my first introduction to the community that was here. So worked at the school for 4 years. Actually had Estela when she was really young, and her siblings. And really, I'd actually planned to teach English overseas. And so the teaching at New Philly schools in the ELL program was just kind of a part-time thing to raise money to then go overseas. But as I worked with the families and I got to know the community better, I realized that there is a lot of needs here. There was a lot of bridging the gap that needed to happen, and everything I felt called to do overseas was right here. Plus, I didn't have to learn another language, which is a plus. And just really felt connected to the families, hearing their stories, and just really developed a passion from there to just bridge the gap. And so after the school, I helped start a nonprofit, Latino Cultural Connections, which doesn't exist anymore. But it served its purpose with a couple friends, and really just did more work through that organization, victims advocacy, and then eventually through the Tuscarawas County Public Library. So I've held different positions, but all has been kind of with the aspect of working with the Latino community here in Tuscarawas County.
Yeah, and the same mission, just kind of going along and just pushing along, and it just became those stair steps to where you are now. And I think without that, like, we would not be where we are today. And I know there's a long way to go, but some of those major first stepping stones were coming from you and a good push in the community. So that was good.
Well, yeah, and people like Cheryl Rieger and lots of others, Sarah King, that have been around since really the beginning, 30 years ago when the population first started coming. So just learning a lot from them.
Cheryl Rieger, absolutely. Another one of those names to give a huge shout out to. In fact, just in the paper alone, the Bargain Hunter last week, a great look at the not after school program, but the enrichment program that goes in the summer for a summer camp. What's that called?
Is it Camp Imagineif? I'm not sure if I have.
No, I think I meant to bring that newspaper with me.
The Adelante Arts Camp? Yes. So that started, with Tuscarawas Arts Partnership.
Yep.
And
great article in the Bargain Hunter about that and their music one that's running this year. And we're lucky enough to be able to host the photographs from last year's, I think, in our lobby for a month. And that was just such a our members loved it to be able to see that. And we're hoping to be able to share some of that other stuff that's coming out of camp this year.
Yeah.
So
exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. So Tess, I'm going to ask you the same question. Give us a little bit of information about you, and then what started you on this mission, and what's fueling your passion at this point.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Tess Anderson. I work as an interpreter at Dover High School right now. Well, technically we're on break, but...
Must be nice.
Yeah.
So I guess my involvement with the community actually started when I was in high school, because I grew up here and I went to Dover High School, and my close friends, along with Cheryl Rieger, started an after-school homework help program called Camp Imagine If. And so when I was in high school, I helped tutor young kids that needed help like after school, and we did projects and we did Bible lessons, and it was just like... It was a good time. But going into college after that, I was very much on like a math or science trajectory. But I went on a trip to Bolivia really randomly, and that changed my focus. I was like, I want to study Spanish. And so that's what I did in college. And afterwards, I spent a year teaching English in Spain. And then I came back to the community for a minute, and I think it was actually Cheryl Rieger who was like, hey, we have this, we're looking for interpreters at Dover, you should apply, you should check it out. And so I did, and that's kind of where I started. I took a little hiatus because I went and taught abroad again in Japan, and then I came back and have been working at the school since then. But wow. I think just like being involved with the kids and then being involved with like their families has just like drawn me into the community, and it's just like great to also see the kids that I tutored when I was in high school be high schoolers themselves and graduate and go on and do great things.
Now, have you two ever met?
Like in passing.
I think we've seen each other. I don't know that we've ever had a conversation.
Because you're on the same path. Like, I feel like you guys are on the same path.
And I was going to say, it all comes down to the relationship, right? Like, once you actually take the time to sit and get to know these families, that's where I think that passion really starts.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think is the biggest success so far in connecting these two cultures, the English and Spanish cultures, and what do you think is the next most important hurdle that we're going to get? You can arm wrestle that.
I was going to say, who wants to take that first? Well, I'll say sitting across the table is the next big step. And I think since I started in the community, that was really the goal that we were working towards, is having those students then be a part of the workforce. You know, they're the ones that you see on the front lines at the whatever job it is in the community, because communication is the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
And I think that anytime we talk with an organization or a business or a school, it's always communication. And culture has a big part as well. But when you have people from the community representing their own community, not only does that help to bridge the gap to where they feel more comfortable walking into the YMCA and seeing Estela there who can speak their language and, you know, work with them. So that's kind of a mix of the two answers, I guess.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Great answer.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think a big step in the right direction is seeing these young people really start to find their paths, and within those paths being able to communicate with like bridging. They are the bridge to both languages, and they just like people can see them working and they're like, wow, I could do that someday, or wow, what a like very intelligent person who can speak both languages, and or even 3 or 4 languages. Yeah, with the dialects. So
Right. And I don't think this is uncommon for this community to go through this type of transition. I know that, and we'll talk a little bit later about Hispanic Heritage Month and what's going on in the community for that. But this is not a uncommon thing. I want to say 50 years ago, this was an Italian group of immigrants coming in to the area, to Tuscarawas County, and that communication there. I know when my grandparents first came and they were of Slovak descent in the Akron area, there was a large group of Slovaks coming into that area, and the communication gaps. And so this isn't an uncommon thing for the United States to do. Yet I think sometimes start from square one, but there is definitely great progress, I think, being made, and a lot of progress yet to be made to grow these two together. So I'm excited about that. So we're going to come back to that Heritage Month, but let's talk to Estela. So tell me a little bit about you. What brought you to the YMCA, and what's your connection with us?
Okay, so my name is Estela, of course. I am the second oldest in my family. So what brought me to the Y was actually my teacher, Mr. Harlan, of course, husband of Stacy, who's the water director at the Y. He knew that I spoke both language, English and Spanish. So he went, and one day he asked me if I wanted to work at the Y, where a lot of Hispanic community come in, and basically want to go there and have a membership and stuff, and then I felt great at that time, because that big passion, I'm very passionate about helping the Hispanic community since I was little, because since my family don't know how to speak English, so I always had to go and translate, or even my older sister, of course. And that was like a big part of our, translating and stuff like that. So I was very passionate of helping a lot of people, and then I thought it was a great job and stuff like that. So I went and I applied immediately. So I was very great about that. I was very happy. So that's how I got into the Y, of course. And then our family, so they are part of Guatemala. They are from Oaxacan, which is a very beautiful place. So my family, it's family of 8. It's a big family, of course. So I'm very ambitious. I want to succeed in life so much. I'm very open-minded through. So, after I got into the Y, starting conversations with, all of these members and stuff like that, I was very intrigued, and I'm very open-minded. So I really love learning about these different cultures. So it's very nice.
Very good. Yeah, it is. It's been, and I love that she just comes in and shares a lot about her family and just the culture at home. Our front desk staff is learning so much. And I think this is where these two connect. Jeff, a couple of years ago, you came in and did an actual kind of, not training, but enlightenment for our staff, and let us sit down, and you went through the differences in the cultures from some that live in Dover and some that live in Philly, and you patiently answered a lot of questions from us about, because as a YMCA, we know that we have to continue to grow and transform and stick with the community that surrounds us. And we knew that we were falling behind, and we really wanted to start to make some quick adjustments. And then where do we grow, and how do we continue on that path and not lose sight of it and move on to another project? So knowing that we were going to need to do that. And so she's kind of giving us hands-on experience every time she works with how that goes. But you came in and did just a really great talk about it too, and helped in the early stages of getting us going. And then one of the very first things that you said was you need to make a present or apparent in your building that you want them here.
Yeah.
You also warned us that once they kind of start coming, be ready. Like, don't do this half-hearted. Go in full. Which is where Tess came in, because you said make it apparent, make sure all your signage and all your, try your best to make sure that you are connecting in any way, shape, or form to visibly see, not only for the Hispanic community, but also for our English and American community to know that we were going to start to make these cultural changes in our building. And so I connected through Cheryl Rieger. Cheryl
is the cornerstone.
I think Cheryl was like, I don't want to do this one, so let's move that on to Tess. So and Tess helped us with all our signage in the building. Awesome. Just really down to scriptures. Like, we did scripture signs, we did bathroom signs, we did like every sign that we could think of, pool rules. And when we went to 24/7, she came in and translated we have it in both audio and on paper, all the rules for 24/7.
Bless you for that. Because that could not have been an easy task with that one.
And what was great about it, I will tell you, just last week, I used the safety tour that you did. And it basically, I hand them the iPad and then I walk them like Vanna White. Here is what she's talking about, I think, as I'm watching it on the script in English so that I can follow it. Stop one, stop here, stop here, stop here. And I'm following them along, and their eyes were on, like, they're watching the video, they're looking up at me, they're listening to you, they're smiling, and it was just, it was like, this is coming together.
Nice.
Like, I feel like, as long as what you said was correct, I have no idea. But now we're moving to a project that we have Estela on. And because she's our face at the front desk with membership information, we're teaching her, as she's translating to them, about bank drafts, about bank accounts, checking accounts, savings account. Like, she's learning that process. She is teaching it to them. And we're closing a gap that we've had, which is financial gap. Where, how does that work? And so she's getting ready to do a short video for us as well.
Yes.
I'm going to put her in front of a camera, and again, she's feeling more confident and more comfortable with that, and that's helping.
And I think that answers your question from earlier too, is like, what has been the biggest improvement? And I think it's what you're doing at the YMCA, because when I do give those presentations to different organizations, businesses, churches, I think everyone has the right heart, but maybe not everyone's ready to put in the commitment and the effort to make it happen. And so, I mean, it took a lot of work, right? It just didn't happen overnight, but you have to be intentional. Like, if you're serious about wanting to engage that community, the Latino community, then you have to put the work in. And yeah, it's a two-way street, right? But to be able to create an environment like you did, just having those signs in Spanish is a big deal. And not everyone speaks Spanish, right? There's a lot of quiche and Ixil, but just having that different language up there, and then being willing to hire and be intentional about hiring someone that can connect with that community. That's what I think a lot of the community needs to start being more intentional about. So thank you guys for taking the lead on that, really.
It's all those little things that really add up to being able to make those connections.
And nicely enough, you guys you're putting in the work off the scenes, which is why I've brought them in, because I wanted people to really be able to see who are we working with and who's doing a lot of this. So are you excited about this next project, or are you like, what'd you get me into?
Well, we're excited. I think this is a great idea to help bridge the gap between the Hispanic community and, of course, theaters.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little video on locker room usage. We're going to do a video on pool rules. We're going to do just some little things that say, here's like some general information for you, so that when they do come to the front desk and maybe she's not with us, we can go, well, let me pull that video for you.
And how nice it is, too, to promote the YMCA and know that I don't have to call with them for them to get the information, right?
Right.
Because there are, a handful of, few people out there that know both languages to be able to assist the families in that communication, or it's relying on the kids, which can sometimes be stressful.
It is.
Right.
Right.
So to have someone to be like, here's the number for the Y, talk to Estela and she'll help you out. That's so
Or to know that there's like
It is
videos
cool.
there that they can just go in and do
Yeah,
it.
because we'll start putting all of those on our website, and so that they'll be able to just grab to them. You helped us with our tour video,
Yeah.
and she has a great voice. For those of
Yeah.
you who are looking for,
audiobook in your future.
it's pretty impressive actually. It's she's like a pro at it, which is really really good, and we're super excited. Let's talk just a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month. Some things that are coming. So this is a connection between the YMCA, the Dover Library, Dover Public Library, and Fourth and Faith, which is a little building that used to be.
I'm not sure.
Used to sell things.
Like a motorcycle shop. or
It was a motorcycle
Yeah.
shop, I think, for a while.
At some point.
And then it might have been something else. Anyways, so they bought this little building down on the corner there, and they call it Fourth and Faith. And they have are trying their best as well to connect. And I believe, is Cheryl part of this church?
She's not part of the church, but
She's just
we
part
have
of
a
it.
group called Puentes, which is basically a bunch of people from the that are working with the Guatemalan community. It's an informal group. It's not an official 501c3, but there's probably 10 or 12 of us that meet regularly, and we use that as a meeting space.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay,
some
so
of the
that's the
members of the
connection.
Puentes group are members of that church. So
Okay, so Hispanic Heritage Month is not it's between months. It's September 5th, what did I say? 13th, 15th. I probably have it written down here
Sounds right.
for my notes.
I know it's September.
Yeah, and September 15th through October 15th, and so it runs there nationally. The 2023 theme for that is prosperity, power, and progress, recognizing that there are significant strides for Hispanics in the economic, political, and social growth in the United States. And so that's their theme this year. But locally, Jeff is working on a committee with the YMCA and Fourth and Faith to do some events coming up. So Hispanic Heritage Month, we've got some local events coming up so that people can, again, start to bridge their own gap. Like, I think I want to just kind of put a challenge out there to Tuscarawas County that you have got to be in this. Like, you've
Yes.
got to start to commit yourself to connecting and learning and educating and welcoming. And I mean, really, our purpose in life is to love, and we need to do this in great ways.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of people say like they want that immigrant population, whatever population it is, to be more a part of the community. But there's a quote from a book called The Ungrateful Refugee, where the author basically says, the immigrant can't transform by sheer will. Like, they can't just do it all on their own. Like, they need us as members of that host community to come alongside them and help them understand, this is what our community is like. This is what our community values. And for them not to lose their culture, but to kind of blend those cultures together so that they're understanding how things work here, but we're also learning from them, which is, where this
And
comes in.
I'm going to put something out there that I feel like is one of those statements that gets made. And this got made when I was a youngster as well, with my own grandparents who did not speak English, where it was a battle between my dad and them. And he said, you need to learn English to speak to your grandchildren. And his mother said, no, they need to speak Slovak to talk to me. And there was a battle there. And I never learned Slovak, and she didn't learn English, and I missed out on a very huge portion. Now, my grandfather, because he worked, did speak a little bit of both, and those conversations were just funny, right? Because they weren't always
Yes.
quite right. His translation and my translations probably never quite went there. But there was a gap that was much smaller between my grandfather and I and my grandmother and I. And so for those that have that, well, they should learn English because they live here. What a great opportunity it is for us to try to translate back and forth. I had seen just the other day at the front desk, our coworker Gary is cleaning out his parents' house, and he finds this book, How to Speak Slovak. He brings it into Estela, and she's like, she's looking through this book like, oh no. But this language barrier could actually be a fun thing and a very educational thing for so many to do. And so we're hoping that this Hispanic Heritage Month will bring some opportunities for the community to go out and do some different things. So Dover Public Library doing a connection of a gentleman who was Italian that came and immigrated to Tuscarawas County, and they're comparing it to a gentleman who is from the Hispanic community, and they're comparing those journeys. I think that's cool.
It is really cool because, if I know people can think history is boring, but we really can learn a lot from it, and this is local as well.
Right.
Yeah,
And
these are
that's the
two
cool thing.
people that, and honestly, the area right around St. Joe's Church was very much Italian. When I first moved here, we moved to that area, and a lot of the people would say, "Oh, well, I grew up here," and they were all Italian.
Yeah.
So it was very cool, and that community has now become very Hispanic right there.
Yeah.
So that's good. So that Wednesday, September 20th, don't miss that. That's at Dover Library. So those two will be coming in and telling their stories. Dover Public Library will also do an author coming in to talk about a book of physical loss, survival, abuse of a young boy that travels. So name of that author, Jeff?
Name of the author is Melissa K. Herrera.
All right. And so the book will be available, I'm sure, at the library, so you can kind of get a head start on that one if you'd like. That one's on September 28th. September 30th, Dover Library coming us again with a bilingual story time. So I think that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so that's a great way to connect with some of our younger ones. Then Fourth and Faith is going to do an Add Flavor and Joy to Your Life. That's a variety is the spice of life. We're going to hear from several people about developing special relationships with people in the community from different cultures and how you do that.
That's cool. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So kind of like, and I don't know if they're going to add food to that, but that might be nice.
Yeah, food's always nice.
Yeah. So speaking of food, like what are some of your favorite foods?
Oh, I love tostada.
What is that?
Okay, so it's basically like a fried corn tortilla, and then that's the base. Then you just add stuff like probably meats or like refried beans and stuff like that.
Okay.
And a variety of vegetables and stuff.
Are you a
It's
good
very-
cook? Are you learning like how to cook all these great things?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You could have brought something today.
You're right. We are here. Right? That would have been nice. What about the two of you? Do you get involved in the cooking aspect? Are you?
I tried to flip tortillas once, burnt my finger, and that's the extent of my cooking. I'll eat the food, plenty, but
Like tamales.
Tamales.
Those are great. I love whenever people will bring me tamales like that.
She does have a currency there.
And I know it's not like a cultural, like a Guatemalan thing, but now, around this area, there's tres leches cakes that they have at birthday parties
yes.
and things like that, and it's the best thing ever.
All you had to say was cake. My eyes rolled.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's made with fruit, and it's just very light, and it's very, very good. So
Nice. Tuscarawas County YMCA is getting involved October 7th. Just a little shout out. That's my birthday. In case you come, bring cake. We're having a celebration that day as well at the Y, just to bring in some food trucks. We're doing some raffle baskets on that. There'll be a little passport, I believe, that if you've gone to some of these events, you can put in for a drawing. And we're just going to have a fun time because, the Y is about just having a good old time there. So that's on October 7th. And then October 19th, we're going to kind of finish things out with a Feed Your Tummy and Your Mind at Fourth and Faith. They're doing their Taco Thursday, and they have a guest speaker. Guess which one of these three people might be doing that?
me.
Jeff's like, I just
I'll be
saw
there.
that. Wait, I should probably put that
no.
on my calendar.
Yeah. So I always look forward to the opportunity, and my dream is someday that people like Estela are the ones that are able to give this presentation and this talk that I've been giving. And someday I know that'll happen. And if you want to tag team it, come see me.
All right.
But
she said, okay.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that. But basically, we go from what life's like in Guatemala, how they come here, and what life is like here. So
great. So kind of going to finish things out here, and just, if you have something else that you kind of want to throw a challenge out there to the community, please think of those two things. Estela, I want to kind of give you a shout out, and then tell us when are you working? When is a great time to come see you at the front desk?
Okay, so I work Mondays and Fridays for sure. Mondays 4 through 9, and then Fridays 4 through 7. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, depending on who's going to work. So, again, 4 through 9 for Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah. And we would love to have you forever. But it is one of those things that, just so people are aware, we would love to have someone who can work in our swim lessons area. We also, because water just brings people together, and it's one of those elements that just makes everything great. So we definitely want to get that involved in there. And then also in our fitness element. We would love to hire someone in group exercise, and then also in the fitness center, because that tends to be another area that is very common, brings people together, and just teaching and being able to communicate in there as well. So looking for some more people to do that. What are some other projects that you guys might be working on that you want to give a shout out to?
I think I don't think there's a specific project, but just as an individual, or as, if you're a business or another organization that's listening to this, just be intentional, step outside of your comfort zone, and we're here as a resource, more than happy to help with that. But I think sometimes we want change to happen. We want to bridge that gap that we keep mentioning, but sometimes we just don't know how. Or maybe there's just some fear there. And so just myself and others we're more than willing to meet one-on-one, or just, do this presentation with smaller groups or your business, and just really kind of walk that process through with you. So,
all right. Tess?
I don't have anything specific, but I have seen recently more and more businesses and other establishments reaching out to me, asking for translations, and I think that's just a great start to anything, and it just gives the community a better way to have access to these different resources that they might not have had access to. And I think my biggest advice is just take that step. It doesn't all have to change in one day. Little by little, things can change, but be willing to take the step and start on the journey to communicating.
Yeah.
Progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yeah, because definitely make my share of mistakes, but we are definitely, I feel like, heading in the right direction. And because of the help of these three, Cheryl Rieger, Dr. Springer, a lot of other people that are really helping us out, we're doing our best, and we're trying to definitely bridge the gap. So this part is coming to an end. This is the easy part. We get to know just a little bit about you. So I ask 10 questions at the end of each podcast to our guests, and then we close it out. So these are super easy. We just go around the table. We'll just go around the table. I'm not in the mix, so nobody cares about what I would think.
So easy, but that adds to the pressure if I don't know an answer.
But she's going to go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Every time.
Icebreaker.
Perfect.
Fine.
I'll have a half second to think about it.
That's right. What was the last book that you read?
Ooh, Power to Change.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, wow.
Well, that
Start out strong.
Jeff's going to be like, I read a book to my kids.
Yeah, no. Actually, it was the Cloudbuster 9. It was about a World War II baseball team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Mine was The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, which is a fantasy book, and it's about a family from Ecuador.
Wow. Whew. You guys, I think I'm going to have to get bigger books. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Cookies and creams.
Butter pecan.
Ooh.
Just chocolate.
Oh, what song makes you want to get up and dance?
Oh, okay. Ooh, this is a hard one. Let's see.
You can easily say the YMCA song.
I don't know any of it. It's just playing around. I'm like, I don't know any of these songs. Okay, so. Oh, I don't know.
All right, we're coming back to her.
All right.
All right. Well, I don't dance. Not even by myself. I like more chill music, so I'm gonna answer with that. I'm gonna be the rebel
Something
and
chill.
not answer it by answering.
Anything by Shakira.
Oh, nice. Dog versus cat? Dogs.
Yes.
Cat 1,000,000%.
Dogs.
Ah,
It's
okay.
unfortunate.
Do you have a secret talent other than
Not really.
No?
No. I
No?
don't have any talents.
I mean, you speak multiple languages. That's not really
Right,
a
it's not a
secret,
secret
though, right?
anymore. It's no longer a secret?
My pilot's license. I don't know if that's
Oh.
a talent, but
Well, I would.
Yeah.
If I was a passenger.
I'd hope you have.
surprise.
I can make my tongue into a clover. I don't know if I can do it right now on camera because I'm nervous, but
I'm
I
trying,
can.
but
You go ahead and try.
I can.
that's gonna be the cover
I know.
photo of the podcast.
She's like, nope, not doing
No,
it.
I have to have a mirror in front of me to do it.
Oh my goodness, that's how she opens up. Let me get to know you. Can you do this? Favorite TV show?
I don't watch TV.
She doesn't watch
Good for
TV.
you. See, that's hence the book, right?
Yeah.
Sports. Anything sports.
Okay, I'm coming back to that.
I have no idea. I don't watch that much TV. Let's see. I watched Narcos recently on Netflix.
Oh,
There you go.
I don't know about that one. Okay. Favorite sport?
Soccer.
Baseball and hockey.
Soccer.
Okay, good. That one got across the table easily. Do you have a favorite? Well, now that do you go to the movies?
No.
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 So we'll skip the next one for her. Favorite actor? Do you have
Morgan
a-
Freeman.
I really liked Orlando Bloom back in the day.
Do you have one? No. She's like, no.
I don't watch.
And then, okay, this is easy. A talent that you wish you had.
Okay. Come back.
You want to be
Yes.
able to make a clover with your tongue?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
That would be the easy one.
Play guitar and sing.
Yeah, I would say something musical like that. Play guitar, play different instruments.
Piano. I love the
Piano?
piano, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have a piano?
No, but my dad used to have one, so I used to play with it all the time.
Huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on that. If you have a small piano, she does
Keyboard.
have a house of 8 people.
Yeah. Oh.
Something small, relatively small that you can bring. All right. Anything you guys want to add? We'll go ahead and finish it out.
No, just thank you for doing this. And
Yeah.
again, just for all of the effort the Y's put into things and really not just doing it lip service, but actually putting it into action. So
Well,
the community thanks you for that.
Yeah,
Keep
for
pushing
sure.
us because, you know, that we driving forces are around the table right here of people that are really helping the YMCA get this. Anything to add?
I just want to know, I just want to let the community know that hopefully I set an example through like all of the young ones in school, especially. And hopefully they are committed to go and engage in the community to go help bridge
Nice.
that gap.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So our 24th podcast has come to an end. Remember, if you have a wise story or want to be part of the podcast, please email me, Kathleen at tuscymca.org. We can't wait to hear from you. Take a moment to check out our website at tuscymca.org and follow us on Facebook as we share some things about Hispanic Heritage Month coming up. Look for the flyers, try to help us promote those. Jack Marsh Golf Outing coming up in August. The Turkey Trot obviously coming up Thanksgiving Day. And watch Facebook for more details on all our special events. Today, that's all we have for you for today. Remember, a smile is a universal language. Make sure that you're using your smile as much as you can. See you next time on the Who, What, When, Where, and the Why podcast.